Welcome back to the Knick-Knack Review. Today we're talking about Invincible Episode 7. Let's get started. In this episode, things pick up right where they pretty much left off. Mark and Amber are heading back home from college and, well, she's still mad. And Mama Grayson is about to have it out with Omni-Man. The couple go back and forth and he tells her what happened, but in a way that she doesn't buy it, and kind of like almost, you wouldn't understand why I did it, but I had to do it, and she's just like, bull crap, just, she's not having it. She knows he's full of crap. Meanwhile, Invincible kind of does something that I've been waiting for him to do, and it's like, okay, Mark, just tell Amber already that you're really invincible, and he comes clean. He's like, hey, look, he shows up in the suit, and he's like, I'm invincible. This is why our relationship kind of sucks. This is why I've always been the way I have. But it completely backfires, and she's like, I figured you were, but I'm mad that you didn't tell me about it and all this stuff. And I was like, no. Like, dang. So in one of the scenes, Robot actually meets up with the Mauler twins, and lo and behold, I didn't know anything about Robot prior, and that little Total Recall mutant thing in the tank that you saw in a previous episode, that's the real Robot. Basically, you find out Robot's a real boy, and now he's trying to create a new body for himself. While I thought Robot was actually trying to resurrect the entire Guardians, I was kind of right in a way, because it turns out the Mauler twins were taking the severed head from Immortal and trying to attach it on a newly grown body, if I'm not mistaken. They didn't really show, like, the body being grown, but I mean, I guess in a way they did, because it showed the lungs and all the organs, and I guess that's the body they were trying to grow, and they just basically put Immortal's head on top, and boom, I'm good now after some staples, all done. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Cecil and Mama Grayson, they meet up, and he explains, she finds out that he's manipulating the cells of Omni-Man and trying to find a way to kill him. And he's like, why are you doing this? She was like, why are you doing this? And he's like, I need a backup plan. I need a plan B. There's no way to control your husband. He's literally out of control. I know he killed the Guardians. Meanwhile, Omni-Man returns home only to find out that his house is full of those invisible soldiers, and he takes them all out, and he finally finds out the house across the street is where that Henry Gyrich looking guy is. And he's like, you've been spying on me this whole time? And he just kind of goes berserk. And I will say, that was pretty cool. Like, that Henry Gyrich looking guy, he had a cool contingency, but like, that was it for him. He knew he was going to die, so he just sets off that bomb, and the house explodes. And you learn later that the whole neighborhood was evacuated, so they didn't have to worry about anything. But that was a really cool contingency. And of course, it didn't do anything to Omni-Man. He's Omni-Man. Didn't do anything. A little while later, the new Guardians, are introduced to Robot Rudy, and Rex finds out that Robot he sees a miniature himself, like a little version of himself walking around. He's like, I can't even fathom this. Like, you're ruining my childhood. You cloned yourself, or cloned me. Took my DNA and made yourself a body that looks like me, and I can't comprehend this. And I just love his reaction to the whole thing. And it is a little weird because, you see him, like, the reason he did it was to have a connection with Monster Girl, and that was the whole reason he cared for her. You could tell that Robot had something for her, but I didn't know why. And now that, he made himself that young because of her. And I believe he's trying to figure out a way to reverse that to where she can continue aging forward rather than backwards. In the next scene, you get a little intimate moment with Eve and Mark. And I thought that was such a good scene. I really love scenes like this, whether it be Mark and his dad, or even Mark, whatever it is, between whatever character. Just nice little moments like this, because it's not only character development, but it's fleshing out these characters. And you have kind of an identity crisis with Mark, where he's like, I have no idea who I'm supposed to be, because everybody in the world tells me who I'm supposed to be, but I don't know who I'm supposed to be. Like, everybody else has the answer, but except me. And while they didn't go too much into it and didn't like hang on that subject too long, I just thought it was a nice touch, because they have mentioned it before. I remember his mom saying something like, no matter what the world tells you, you be who you want to be. Meanwhile, Cecil is tracking Omni-Man's every move, and he knows he's coming straight for them. And it was a cool scene where he basically gets the Justice League Skybeam and just hammers Omni-Man into the ground, and a huge nuclear explosion just levels him and everything around him. But he's still like, he's hurt, but he's not more shooken up, but he's not like really hurt. It didn't stop him; it slowed him down. It basically just pissed him off. And after that, Cecil actually comes face to face with Omni-Man. He teleports down and he shoots him with a gun just to get his attention. And it was a cool scene because Cecil has no powers, so he has a little teleporter thing on his wrist, and he goes back and forth just to stay away from Omni-Man. But it was kind of cool because it was like, he was toying with Omni-Man, but just, again, keeping him busy and distracted long enough to get Mark and actually Eve to safety. Now, back to the Mauler twins and the Immortal. Like what I said before with reattaching his head, they are successful in doing that, and they bring him back to life. And I like that part where he comes back to life because they never really touched on the history or any of the origin of the original Guardians, so you didn't care about them much. At least I didn't. I thought it was cool that they had like their own version of JLA, but they didn't really say anything about them that made me care enough about whenever they died. When Omni-Man just severed his head, and when he smashed the head of the fish dude, which I don't even remember his name, and that's the whole point. I wasn't invested in these heroes, so when they died, while it was a cool scene, I didn't care as much. But now, in this scene, when the Immortal comes back, you see a flashback of his origin. You realize he's almost kind of like I can't think of his name right now, but he's almost like the guy from DC that can never die. Like he's immortal. I'm struggling with the name right now, but he comes from a long period of time, and while they don't go into detail, they show flashbacks of his past. And you kind of get the gist, like he's been here a long time. He was Abraham Lincoln. I know that much. And you get more out of the character that, to me, should have been there from the start, and it wasn't. So it was a nice little thing to get, and I wish we'd have got that from the rest of the characters, and maybe it would have been more effective if they would have done that, and we would have cared when they died, instead of just thinking it was a cool scene. After that, this is when we get the Man of Steel fight, like between Superman and Zod, between Omni-Man and the Immortal. And it was a great fight. This is actually the fight I kind of wish we would have seen the first time when he attacked the Guardians. It was really, really good. And I thought, maybe the Immortal, since he was the one that stood a chance, the most chance against Omni-Man the first time, I thought, okay, here we go. He's going to get a second chance. He's going to beat him maybe. That's not the case. Omni-Man flat out murders the Immortal once again, punches fist right through him, and just tears him apart. The difference? All eyes are on Omni-Man this time, including Mark's. Now, I thought this was a great scene because not only did the world get to see the real Omni-Man, but throughout the entire episode, he was contemplating on telling Mark everything that happened originally. And I think what he was trying to do is say, like, look, this is what the Viltrumites are. This is what we're all about. He just didn't know how to say it. So he was going to tell him anyway, but with that, it was kind of like, you know what? Okay, son, we need to talk. All in all, I thought it was a great episode. It started well, ended well. Everything in between was great. This show just gets better and better each episode. I loved it. Really anxious to see the friction that's going to be caused between Mark and his dad, especially after Mark just witnessed him murdering somebody, and a hero of all people. Well, that about does it here for the Knick-Knack review. Don't forget to leave a comment and let me know what you thought about this episode. And again, always let me know if I missed anything, and fill me in a little bit on this show. I'm not looking into this to this comic book because I haven't read it yet, but fill me in on anything I may need to know. And while you're there, don't forget to, well, you know what to do. As always, I am Clint the Knick-Knack, and I will see you on the next one.